Hi, everyone. I'm here back again with Scott.
Hey, Steve.
So, yesterday I had a call and an interview with Sergey Sokolov from Progress Software.
Yes.
And we discussed them making the Gartner Magic Quadrant for DXP.
Big news. That's fun.
It was. So, what I want to do is just get your reaction to the three questions that I asked him. So, the very first question I asked him is, what did you think about getting onto the quadrant, and what's your comments about that?
That's great. Let's roll.
I think one moment that I can remember is in the fall of 2020. We really decided to dive into what being a DXP would mean for us, because a number of entrants in the Magic Quadrant grew out of WCM, as we know. Same with Sitefinity, but it seems like it's a simple transition, but it's not. And so we really talked about internally what these three letters mean and what they mean for us. And for us, and it's literally, what does digital mean? What does experience mean? How you manage that? What the platform means and how it's used in the field. And Sitefinity had elements of that, but we really needed to look broader in terms of what is it that we can call our platform, because we know digital, we know how to manage experience, but what is the platform? And we had a strategy meeting with Irina Guseva at Gartner, which proved to be sort of a key moment there. It wasn't a key decision, but she criticized us for focusing too much on Sitefinity, interestingly enough, which means focusing too much on WCM in her perception. And while we were on that path already, it kind of provided a nice highlight of what the possibilities are. And so what we really started to pull together is, it's not necessarily an offering, but it's an approach that pulls in different products from the Progress portfolio. Because in some sense, if you're making software, and OpenAge goes back decades, we're still supporting digital experiences. Now we just needed to make that clearer and crisper in terms of what it is that we're bringing.
Based on Sergey's comment, what do you think?
I find it interesting that, it was a journey that involved talking to Gartner directly, and sort of that led to some evolution of the product. I love the way that the product has been evolving, but my challenge is, next time, let's hear what you learned from talking to your customers about how they wanted their product to evolve, not the way the analysts want your product to evolve.
I would agree. I also agree with Gartner in that they were very, very focused in WCM, and that they needed to be more focused on the entire platform scale that they
totally
have.
Yep.
One of my criticisms for Progress has always been they do not have integrations into a lot of their other products. And I think that's a key. And in products outside of Sitefinity,
I would say focus on actually just being more integratable.
Yes.
With your own products. Yes, sure, fine. But most of our clients don't use any other products from Progress. So we want to be able to plug and play with all kinds of other technologies in your marketing stack.
Yeah, so that actually led into the second question, where I gave him kind of a fun question. I said, listen, with Gartner, I'm going to let you started the niche. Now I want to understand if you could only pick one, Challenger or going into Visionary, whichever it is. So have a listen and we'll get your reaction.
I will note that pure visionaries in the current MQ are just two, and they are really, really not forward of the line. So my answer to you would be, I want to be a challenger. And there are a couple of reasons for that. The main reason is, well, actually, there are two things combined. There is our view from the company side, there's a customer view. If I am a buyer, and really challenger means on the Gartner scale, you are better in execution. right? So having a vision is great, right? What are you buying? Are you buying a vision or are you buying working software?
Correct. I agree.
I'd rather have working software that is more tuned towards today and tomorrow than having a vision that is somewhat not guaranteed that takes me 5 years out.
All right, so you heard that he actually picks Challenger, where I thought he was going to go visionary. But what's your thoughts?
I mean, I totally get the rationale, and he's got a good answer for wanting to be a challenger, and I can't criticize that, but I do desperately want to see Sitefinity show up as more of a visionary. And sure, you gave him a pick one or the other, and he was a good politician, and he followed your answer, or he followed your question. But there's no reason not to do both. Let's flex a little bit more, please, Sitefinity, on what you're doing and showcase how you can be a visionary in the digital experience place. I think it'll help consumers and customers understand what they can do with your products better.
Yeah, I would agree. I have to agree with Sergey in terms of the platform itself. It is made for people who are trying to get work done from a non-technical perspective versus some of the bigger heavy lift products that I would see on that Gartner Magic Quadrant. So very interesting there. And then finally, again, another great segue into the last question that I asked him is like, who is like an ideal customer for Progress Software in terms of the DXP? So I'll have a listen and I'll get your reaction.
All right.
I think our ideal customer is practical. And that's part of the consideration for kind of moving to the Challenger. Because strengths that we have both in the Sitefinity product line and in Progress, that our solutions are functionally capable and economically effective. And what we have been seeing among our customer base, and this is something we need to take into account, that very often we see under-resourced marketing teams. We see IT organizations that are overwhelmed, or that they're just not enough people. So putting out solutions that work that are efficient, that are easy to use, that are easy to deploy, and also baking it, that's those same considerations into, let's say, our hosted solutions, that they are transparent, reliable, and we do our job in sort of maintaining what we need to maintain, are our keys to success.
Yeah, I mean, good. Again, can't fault them. Very practical answer. His users are economically effective, and that's great. But I know firsthand from working with a lot of these, modern savvy digital marketers, that they're energetic. They're very dynamic. They've got a bunch of things happening all at once, and they need to be able to integrate with, all kinds of other systems in their tech stack. And I think it's a little bit more than what Sergey described it as. And I think that they should just not forget to go after everybody that they've always sort of been able to get excited about their product.
Yeah, I can't fault Sergey because I completely agree with his statement. Their products are meant to be as easy as possible to use for everyone. So I see where they're kind of downplaying the situation. And I would agree with you. It really should be about, like, a lot of their power users are very, very technology, very savvy. They're doing amazing things. You're doing amazing things. So I would agree. So if anybody else has any comments, please just list them below in the LinkedIn chat or the YouTube chat. And that's it. Thanks,
All right.
Scott.
Thanks, Steve. Good chat.
Take care.